There's a somewhat obscure book that's part of C.S. Lewis's The Chronicles of Narnia series, which you may or may not be familiar with. It's called A Horse and His Boy. And this book tells the story of a boy named Shasta. And Shasta has quite a great difficulty and quite a lot of difficult situations that occur to him in the book. At the beginning of the story, he learns that the fisherman who raised him as a child is not actually his biological father. And he finds this out as the fisherman is getting ready to sell him into slavery. It is only with the help of a talking horse, because this is Narnia, because this is a fantasy story, that he is able to escape. And this horse works with Shasta to try to return with him to the horse's native land of Narnia. While they make the journey, they face many more hardships. They're chased by lions. They face dangerous beasts during the night while they're sleeping at a tomb. They endure hunger and thirst in the desert and encounter even more lions. And at this point, as our children can say from this morning, hopefully they would be saying Psalm 23, "Yea, though I walk through the valley of shadow of death, I will fear no evil," because this is a lot of scary things that are happening at once. And if all these things weren't enough, in the course of their difficult journey, Shasta gets separated and a deep fog rolls over him. And he finds himself unable to see ahead of him. And he is completely and utterly alone. It's at this point that Shasta notices the sound of someone walking right by him. Someone he can't yet see. Someone who is, as C.S. Lewis puts it, an unwelcome fellow traveler. Somehow, as scary as it would be to find someone you can't see walking right next to you, Shasta finds the courage to speak to this person by him. And as they strike up a conversation, Shasta tells the stranger about all these different misfortunes and all these different terrible things that he has encountered on his journey. But the stranger says to him, "I do not call you unfortunate." Shasta replies, "Don't you think it was bad luck to meet so many lions?" "There was only one lion, but he was swift of foot." Shasta is naturally confused by this and asks, "How do you know?" And then the stranger explains, "I was that lion. I was the lion who drove the jackals from you while you slept. I was the lion who gave the horses the new strength of fear for the last mile so that you could reach King Loon in time. And I was the lion you do not remember, who pushed the boat in which you lay, a child near death, so that it came to shore where a man sat, wakeful at midnight, to receive you." This lion, it turns out, is Aslan, the lion who died and rose again in order to save the realm from the White Witch. The lion who, at the beginning of the Chronicles of Narnia series, sang the world into being. The lion who, in C.S. Lewis's series, represents God. And it is this character who stoops to help even this poor orphan boy outside the realm of Narnia. The lesson that we learn from this story is that even when it doesn't seem like it, even when only troubles seem to surround us, God is in fact present. He is there to be with us. And that is the very same lesson that we gain from our readings this morning. In the reading from the prophet Habakkuk, we capture a glimpse of the world of Israel as the Babylonians are getting ready to capture them. Violence and wrongdoing are all around. Lawlessness abounds and justice never prevails. It seems that only what is wrong wins at the end in this time, from the corruption both inside Israel and the evil of the kingdom of Babylon from without. Only that which is wrong will win in the end, or so it seems. At the end of the reading from Habakkuk this morning, God responds to what is being said by saying, not to despair. There is an appointed time coming, we are told, when good news will come. And even when it doesn't seem like this good news will ever come, it will. Even if it doesn't come tomorrow, it will come eventually. And even though we read our psalm first today, as we know, when we normally have a Eucharist, we read it after this reading. And for those of you who like to look ahead on lectionarypage.net will know the psalm is normally listed as the response to the Old Testament reading. And I say this because I think response is an apt word for our psalm this morning. That's because in Psalm 37, we hear, "Do not fret yourself because of evildoers. Do not be jealous of those who do wrong." And we are called not to be jealous, not only because those who do evil will, in the end, fail. In the end, even if they do succeed, it will only be for a short time, especially in the grand scheme of things. But aside from this, we are called not to be jealous, not to fret, not to despair in this psalm, because we have hope. We have hope because God is here. As the psalm says, put your trust in the Lord and do good. And our proof that God is there comes from the good news, the vision, as Habakkuk puts it, that will come at the appointed time. Because that time has indeed come. Because that time, that sign, that vision, that good news comes in the resurrection of Jesus Christ from the dead. Because in that good news, we have the hope and indeed certainty that God is always with us. Because he was willing to come down and be one with us. And in fact, one of us. And we know that God always cares for us because he died and rose again so that we could rise to have new life with him. There are times in all of our lives when we have enemies surrounding all around our borders, just like Israel with the Babylonians. There are times where it seems that no matter what happens to us, that there are always more dangers around the corner, as with the horse and his boy. And there are times when, at the end of our struggles, we seem to find ourselves completely and utterly alone. Alone and without anyone there to help us. But have no fear. It is in these moments of fear, of struggle, and aloneness, that God is acting, even though we don't always see him, even though we don't always know that he's there. It is not to say that there won't be troubles. There will be. But even in our troubles, even when all seems hopeless, God is there, pushing our boats to shore, even though we may not even know that that's what he's doing. And for that, we can truly say, thanks be to God.